Okay. Another post-session video about Odyssey of the Dragonlords. Odyssey of the Dragonlords is an epic campaign. The things that they are supposed to do, the things that they will end up doing, are above and beyond crazy compared to normal campaigns. I dipped my toes into epic campaigns when I was younger. Participated in and ran some Planescape games. Um, Also ran Red Hand of Doom into Scales of War. Campaign ran all the way from 120. Level 20 play is already pretty crazy, and Scales of War was a campaign from 4th edition, which 4th edition as a system was kind of over the top, like anime, DC Universe Extreme over the top. So I've had my fair share of epic and crazy stuff. It's already completely nuts in Odyssey, and they're only like level 4. The most recent session had them crossing this bridge of ice, and there were harpies, and the harpies were luring people off the bridge, like to leap to their doom. Pretty cool encounter, well done. What happens if they fall off this thing? Well, there's like a 500-foot fall, and if they survive that, they wind up in this valley just full of dead stuff. So you see how there's numbers here? Yeah, so when they land down here, this actually has different there's different things to explore down here, and there's an infinite amount of undead that rise up out of this area and kill you. So that was already a pretty hard encounter. I decided to make it worse, of course, by scaling up the harpies. I got a Kobold Press harpy, which was way stronger than the standard harpy. And then they had run into some Yetis earlier and kind of beat the shit out of them. So the Yetis were tracking them and decided to show up and cause some trouble for them while they were dealing with the harpies while they were crossing the bridge. It was like a 90-minute ordeal of like trying to cross this bridge while dealing with stats effects, while being attacked, while trying to make their way across this bridge. It's not very far, but this is a 4th level party. They don't have Dimension Door. They have Misty Step, but that doesn't help everybody. They certainly don't have any teleporting. They had flyers. One of the characters has Boots of Flying already, because this is the kind of campaign that is. And one of the characters is a Siren, which is like an angel person. So they could fly. But they had a lot of people to get across this bridge. And people were, again, getting charmed, poisoned, put to sleep. It was crazy. Eventually, the Harpies, with their +3 athletics, were swooping in and actually succeeding at grabbing people and then throwing them over the side. And so people were being thrown over the side. Now, what would happen if you get thrown over the side? 500-foot drop. What's going to happen to you? Well, according to Xanathars, you just die, right? You fall 500 feet per round, and that's the end of it. I'm a big fan of cheesy action movies, and Dungeons & Dragons is cheesy action. So when people are falling, I like them to fall at a dramatically slow pace that has nothing to do with science. I know that the 500 feet in Xanathars is mathed out, and it's mathed out actually lower than the speed that you would normally fall in the real world. I think you fall a little bit faster than 500 feet in 6 seconds. I don't care. So what I ended up doing was the spell Feather Fall has you fall 60 feet per round. And when you land, you do like a dramatic superhero pose and you take no damage, assuming you fall within a minute. So I just took that same idea and I just said that every round you fall 60 feet. So initially when you fall 60 feet, and then at the start of your activation, like when your initiative rolls around, you immediately fall another 60 feet. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very board gamey, but at the same time, it leads to really dramatic stuff where like people fall off, and then other people like jump off to try to save them. And while they're falling, they're like throwing grappling hooks to each other and then trying to throw grappling hooks to walls. They're doing all that crazy cool stuff that you see in the movies and the video game cutscenes that gets your heart pumping fast and gets you super hyped, super excited that you would not get if you listened to Xanathar's and you just fell 500 feet and you were done. So slow falling, I guess, dramatic falling is something that I house rule in my games, and it always leads to ridiculously fun and exciting and crazy stunts. Now, one of the things that is kind of a pain is tracking how far people have fallen before they hit the ground. And that combined with just flying and the amount of flying that takes place in Epic Games pushed me to make a video about how flight impacts dynamic lighting, which I already put that video out and I can link to it in the description. But also, how do you track flight in Roll20, right? So I ended up making a set of tokens finally for digging, for swimming, and for flying. And this tracks like what height you're at in the water, or how low you are, how deep you are in the water. You're diving, how deep you're diving, how deep you're digging, and then how high you're flying. And the digging one can also be used for, in this case, falling, right? So if you fell off the bridge and we're treating the bridge as sea level, right? How far down have you gone? And yeah, so you could tag like tack 100 onto a 55, and now you've fallen 155 feet, or you've dug 155 feet, or you're flying 275 feet. Yeah, so I actually got these guys into the game now. They're all the way at the very bottom here. But yeah, like, so if Lorius fell and he had already fallen 60 feet, I would mark 60 feet. Then his initiative comes up, and we change that from 60 feet to 120 feet. And now we know that he's already fallen 120 feet. I know that the ground is 500 feet below, so there's plenty of time for his allies to do some crazy hype stuff to try to save him, or there's plenty of time for him to panic as he approaches smashing against the ground. So yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. Is it for everybody? No. Is it rules as written? No. Is it Adventures League legal? Absolutely not. I also don't cap fall damage. So if you fell 500 feet in one of my games, you'd take 50 d6 points of damage, which is pretty beefy. And like some of my games, like we use exploding dice, so 50 d6 exploding is quite a bit. But yeah, if you fell 500 feet, you take 170 damage. High level character would survive it. A barbarian, mid-level barbarian would survive it if they're raging. Anybody with teleporting effects could survive it, because technically you can teleport out of a fall, and with dramatic slow falling, right, you have plenty of time to react and do that. So there's lots of ways to kind of survive a fall, and I like that because falling is still dangerous, especially if you fall into lava, but it does add so much cool stuff of like, what do I do? What do I do? I still have time to save this person. Do I stay and fight? Do I leap off the edge to try to save them? Just, I don't know. Again, not for everybody, but reflecting on it, I'm glad I used that rule because it took an already incredible encounter and made it absolutely amazing. Like, there was so much cool stuff that happened in this encounter. Really, really happy with how it turned out. And you could tell that I was excited about it because the adventure did not even come with a map for this encounter. So I cobbled this together using a map hammer map. I extended the bridge to be longer, and then I went and did some extra undead and stuff to this map from Sipu Piku, Sizu Piku. Yeah, so I don't know. I couldn't have been happier with how this encounter turned out, and nobody died, even though it was really close a bunch of times. And man, it was hype as hell. It was very exciting, and I definitely think that dramatic falling rules had a lot to do with that, and obviously had a lot to do with people not dying because they had plenty of time to fly after each other, get those spells cast, those feather falls react. So much fun. So yeah, just kind of chiming in on that. Maybe this has been useful for you, maybe it hasn't, but I'll see you in another video, I guess. All right, later.